A lot of guys have nicknames, Tornado Tom, Manx Missile, and we're wondering, I think Sagan should have a nickname.
Haven't really thought about it. I'm too far back.
Yeah, but he's in the front, and he seems to be winning. So if you had to give Peter Sagan a nickname, what do you think would be fitting?
Something about just awesome luck. Having, flatten out, crashing out, and just coming back directly without being phased at all.
The guy that likes to fall off on Bonnie Doon every year. Because he crashed 2 years ago doing the same thing, and yesterday I'm pretty sure it was him as well,
The funny thing is you might want to review your tapes, but like when unfunny people or unclever people try to be clever, they always go with alliteration. So they'll be like Sagan, short, Sag for the win.
That's perfect.
Yeah, so
I kind of like Honey Badger. I think a lot of other riders might have that one, but he just doesn't care. He just wins no matter what happens. His bike is broken, whatever, it doesn't matter. He just gets back in and wins. So
Peter Sagan, he seems to be, on fire. You have a nickname for him?
No, I don't.
What are you going to think? What could his nickname be?
I don't know. Right now, it's just winner. Peter's nickname has kind of been determined to be the Terminator. The reason for that is a few years back he raced with Cannondale Factory Racing on the mountain bike World Cup circuit, and he's pretty tough on material, tires, wheels, that kind of thing, so they kind of started calling him the Terminator.
Actually, your Bone Traeger Livestrong riders doing very well. You have your sprinter that's been getting up there, a couple top tens both days. These guys are going up against some of the best guys in the world, so what kind of advice have you been giving them each day?
Well, first we have to discover ourselves. The first few days, we had to find our spot in the peloton, and I'm really pleased with how the first 2 days happened and how it unfolded. Now we try to improve and then try to get some better results. We know that we have a really good level here, and we're going to try to, why not try to go for a stage win? And we'll take it day by day. We learn a lot, and I'm reassured that my team is strong enough to be here and to perform here, actually.
You have the rider getting up there in the sprints, and then obviously coming up later on to the climb. So you have a pretty well-balanced team. Can you tell me a little bit about the roles of certain riders on the certain days?
Well, you have Lawson, Gavin, and Jasper Starvin for the fast sprint finishes, like today. All they have to do is figure out their organization and get a little bit more organized. We've had a couple top 10 finishes, and then we have the second guy that's like 10, 11, 12th. We have to make that more efficient. It's better to have one guy in the top three and the other guy sacrificing himself. So that's the strategy for today. Now later in the week, it all depends on the legs and then the uphill finish. I think with Ian Boswell and Dombrowski, I think we have two very talented riders and climbers. So we'll see and we'll assess after the time trial how good they are and how they recover to try to stick with the best for the longest possible.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
You're getting taped up. We saw that you had a crash yesterday. Can you give us a little bit of an update?
Yeah, I fell off.
What happened? I mean, not what happened in the crash, but the injuries right now that you're trying to correct.
I guess I put my hand down when I went into some other guys who had already fallen off in front of me. So I think popped my finger out and popped it back in again yesterday. So it's a little sore right now, but luckily it's not my ring finger, so my wife will be happy. No, it's just everything's sprained and a bit swollen and stuff, but get through today and should get better day by day, I hope.
Big attack yesterday at the end. You said you were just decided you had momentum and decided to go for it. Today, Diablo, Peterson Pass. Sagan's been an issue with a lot of guys. Something your team might look to try to attack on the final climb to try to prevent him from winning again, I guess.
But if you start doing that, then you need to also have a card to play yourself at the finish. Otherwise, you're just breaking up the race for no reason, and then things come back. We don't have a sprinter here. The only reason for doing something like that, I think, it'd be to stay safe. But at the same time, I think we'd rather, save a little bit of energy for the coming days because that's where it's really gonna count. So, I think
it seems like the theme this year. It's a lot of being conservative from everyone.
Yeah, conservative, and there's a lot of. I don't know how many teams have a whole lot of confidence because there's just no. I guess in the previous years you've always had Levi or Lance to ride for and stuff, and so they take control. And this year there seems to be a lot less control. Liquid Gas did some weird stuff yesterday where they rode for 20k and then they just decided to stop, even though they've got the fastest guy and have the yellow jersey, which I think probably annoyed a lot of people. Mm-hmm. It's pretty disrespectful to everyone else, and then they win the stage anyway. It's like, they've obviously got the fastest guy in the peloton right now, so.
And with no one taking control, is that making the bunch a little bit more dangerous?
more dangerous, and there's a lot more fighting. Coming into the bottom of Bonnie Doon yesterday, there was a lot of fighting to get to the corner, and then you get on the climb, and it's all just everyone across the road, hardish kind of tempo, and it's weird. It makes it a little bit more dangerous, but it's also it's also part of bike racing.
It seems like you're having trouble figuring it out.
Yeah, it's not a very well. I've talked to a lot of guys in the group, and I don't think you can script what's happening every day. It's kind of you think the brake's established, and then yesterday, then all of a sudden 2 guys will attack anyway. So spontaneity and makes it sometimes a little bit more exciting, and not the normal script of cycling, which I guess things seem to be changing that way with all races these days anyway.
Chris, yesterday, a tough stage for a lot of riders. A hard tempo by Garmin Barracuda, United, trying to put a little bit of pain on everybody. How did you fare?
Yeah, it was good yesterday. We didn't really. It was a good tempo, but it wasn't super hard. It was certainly not everybody just throwing everything they had into it. So as you can see, when we were going up the first climb, Bonnie Doon, we were pretty wide on the road. And then Garmin, what was really difficult more was the descent after Bonnie Doon, where it was so technical and bumpy, and it just caused the field to split. I think we had 25, maybe 30 guys in the front group, and then the pace was going really good. But both climbs, in all the years I've done California, and we've done Bonnie Doon a few times, that was the easiest we ever went up it. So that was kind of unexpected.
Yeah, and why is that happening? A lot of people have talked about, there's more crashes going on, a little bit more aggressive, maybe because it's going slower, but it seems to be a conservative race.
Yeah, it's
is it an understatement?
Absolutely.
Well, they can't do that again today. I mean, Diablo, Peterson Pass, which is a hard, steep one. Are guys going to be content to just let Sagan try to take another win?
Well, it's like I said in the press conference, I wouldn't be surprised if Sagan goes in a time trial 40-second lead or something like that. So he's looked impressive. He's getting over the climbs near the front, if not at the front. So, and certainly when we were going easier like we did yesterday, he was never in any trouble there. He was fantastic the whole time. So I don't know if there's anybody that's willing to push it on the climbs. For me, it doesn't. I thought maybe the teams would want to try to isolate me there and see what the rest of the Radio Shack boys look like if they can get me all by myself. After the descent, they did. I was isolated, and so I thought the teams would really throw down after the descent and start the next climb with me completely on my own, because I had no teammates. There was no Levi there. There's a lot of Garmin guys, and they were drilling it. There was a lot of Rabobank guys that weren't, and there was a lot of Liquid Gas guys that weren't either. But of course, Liquid Gas isn't racing for GC, and Rabobank just didn't ride at that point in time. I'm not sure why. That's a question for them. They've been riding both days though before, but just not at that point. But when I was isolated there, I thought, well, so maybe we see if the teams want to play with me a little bit. But
you were putting on your gloves. You were ready for something.
I thought we'd get something. I thought we'd get a little action out of it, but it never did. And then the two groups came back together again.
And Boucher crashed. And how is he and how's the rest of your team going in today?
Well, Boucher got unlucky because he crashed, but lucky because he landed on somebody. So the only problem was I think he hit a frame or something with his thigh, so that's bruised, and hopefully that could cause him some problems, especially in the first 4K here. But if he can get over that, I think he'll be okay. Otherwise, he didn't get much road rash. Did get an incredible chainring scar across his shoulders that almost needed stitches, but in general, he came out of it pretty good, other than the time loss and, of course, going down in general.
And the rest of the team supporting you well so far?
Yeah, we got good guys here, so should have some good support. And a little bit, I was isolated yesterday for a short time, but it was a dangerous descent. It happens.
All right, guys, get ready.
Stage 3, hard day, trying to get over the climbs. Finally, you're able to be there for the finish. Take me through those last kilometers.
It was pretty hectic. We were trying to organize it a little bit for the sprint, but it was extremely difficult with the headwind because couldn't line it up. So it was a little bit of a casino for the last corner, and I did the first sprint already for the corner, and then I lost a little bit too much speed, so I had to come back all the way around, and my last 150 meters were really fast, but I had to pass 4 or 5 guys, so I think I'm second or third.
Danilo, congratulations for Sagan taking another big stage win. The last part, can you take me through the last kilometers and how much work your team was doing to be able to set him up for the sprint?
Yeah, the work of the team. all day. But the last km is very fast and really exciting. We have a superb Sagan, and all work is good for us.
Can you tell me that you guys are doing a lot of work right now for Sagan, and how is that going to affect things maybe later on for Nibali?
Yeah, we see. I don't know. Nibali is here for the first race for the second part of the season, and he feel good. So we try.
And tomorrow the same thing.
Tomorrow, it's hard. It's more hard. We try.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And Tom Boonen, 1, 2, and 3.
Hey, congratulations. The most aggressive rider jersey. Yesterday in the break, today in the break. People don't realize how hard it is to get into the break. Tell me, has that been your plan?
That was my plan. It was Bissell's plan to be in the break today. And I was just lucky enough to be in the right one. It takes a bit of luck, but today with the climb at the start, you really had to have good legs, and I was really happy I had enough legs to go.
Can you tell us a little bit about how hard it is to be able to get into a break? Everybody plans on it, but it's hard to execute.
I mean, you can ride this whole tour trying to get in the break and never make one, and it happens. And I've been lucky enough 2 days in a row, and you have to have good legs, and a lot of the guys that go in the breaks can do very well in the stages. So I mean, you got to roll the dice, and maybe one day it'll pay off.
Right, we're paid off great for the most aggressive jersey. Congratulations, nice ride.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jim.
Hi, welcome to Race Radio from Stage 3 of the 2012 Amgen Tour of California. I'm Joe Lindsay. I'm here with Frankie Andreu. Frankie, today was yet another one of those kind of medium climbing stages, and I don't know, we still didn't get the different result we were looking for.
No, ended up being the same result with Sagan, San Jose to Livermore, and I think, maybe the way they designed this course is kind of backfiring on them. Everybody's talking about being conservative. They're not out there really putting it up there, but Jeremy Vintel didn't hold back. He was in the break yesterday, got in the break today. Everybody was thinking about the KOM, and got to give a lot of credit to Salas from Optum getting that KOM jersey to get him on the podium, and then of course Vintel getting the most aggressive riders jersey, getting him on the podium. So for the domestic teams, nice job in getting up there on the Amgen Tour of California podium at the finish.
Yeah, and I think, I wonder if you might have seen something a little bit different happen on that climb today if there wasn't such a ripping headwind. I talked to Nick Roach at the finish, and he said once they got out, he said he and Fabio Duarte they couldn't make any real headway. Two strong riders out, and they're obviously going as hard as they could. They never had more than maybe 20 seconds going over that.
Yeah, and the reason they didn't have more than 20 seconds because Timmy Dugan was dialing it the whole way up the climb, wouldn't let him get away, staying right on there. Of course, that set it up for liquid gas at the end, and got to give credit to Sagan. I mean, unbelievable. He makes it look easy. And I found out that yesterday there was a protest filed. Today there was a protest filed in the sprint, and they don't really call it a protest anymore. It's called like a review. But I watched yesterday's sprint. I watched today's sprint. Flawless. There's nothing wrong with what's going on, so I don't know why these guys are like putting in these reviews of the sprint when Sagan clearly, I think, is the fastest of the bunch.
Seemed pretty clean. Looking at a photographer's kind of time-lapse shots coming into the finish, he had a bunch of photos coming in. There was a little bit of arm bumping between Sagan and Alex Candelario from Optum, but hand never seemed to come off the bars. Nothing irregular. I talked to Heinrich Hausler very briefly at the finish, and I think Heinrich's getting pretty frustrated. Second now for the third day in a row, doesn't really know what he can do to beat Sagan.
He's frustrated because he's losing. Boonen's all happy because he finally was able to do a sprint.
Right.
So it kind of goes.
Kittle is still MIA. We don't know where that guy went.
And I got to give it. Candelario did a great sprint. He got up there, Fast Freddy, top 10 again. So overall, a good. But how much more can we keep talking about Sagan? It's getting very repetitive. Reporters are starting to not know what to write about. So tomorrow, though,
we might be talking about Sagan another day.
We might be 130 miles, though. I mean, that is going to be a lot of work for liquid gas.
That is. That's the longest day on the race, and it's got the most climbing too. Correct?
Yeah, it has the most climbing. It has. I think it was just about under 16,000 feet of climbing. And to put that into comparison, last year at the Tour de France, stage 14, the stage finish to Plateau de Bay, had about the same amount of climbing.
Right.
So it's almost like a Tour de France climbing stage, but it's stuck right here in the middle of the Amgen Tour of California. But
first 85 miles of that day are just going to be relentless up and down, tons of climbing, and then once they top out the KOM there, it's basically all downhill all the way to Clovis. It's downhill or flat, which means things even however broken up they are, they're probably going to come back together. We're probably going to see another sprint finish, correct?
Yeah, I think so. But Liquid Gas is going to have to ride, but they might get some help from Optum because I think Versailles can keep the KOM jersey. There's about 32 points on the line tomorrow, and that's a lot. So they're going to have to pay attention so they don't lose the KOM jersey. And Sagan's pulling farther and farther away with the points. I mean, the points are going to be wrapped up before you know it, and then we're just going to get down to the final, time trial and Baldy and what everybody's been talking about.
Yep,
so.
the GC race will begin on the time trial, but not until then. Until then, it's the Peter Sagan show. So this is Race Radio. Thanks for watching.